How's it going, everybody? It's Prot here, and welcome back to a little news video that I wanted to make. Now, this is some pretty damn awesome news. I don't know how big it is, but you can decide for yourself. So this was from an article that came out yesterday. It was done by 4gamer.net, and pretty much the entire thing is in Japanese, and I don't think it's been translated into English entirely just yet. But there was a pretty interesting little snippet that was taken out of that interview. So that is taken from Gamatsu. I'm going to link it in the description, but it's really short. I'm literally going to cover the entire thing. So they're pretty much discussing development lines for games that they're working on. They said that they have 3.5 product lines for different projects. They named those projects. 0.5 of that is Deracine, a pretty small game. One is Sekiro, which is coming out March 22nd in a couple of months. That leaves 2. And those 2 are in fact unannounced titles that Fromsoftware is currently working on. We don't know anything about them. They could be anything. They could be new games, but by the way that they are phrasing it, saying that the unannounced titles are basically 2, you can at least assume that they're going to be games that are as big in scale as Sekiro is. And in this whole product line of the 3.5 or whatever games that they have, Dark Souls Remastered is not one of them. It wasn't one of those games. And also they got a game called Metal Wolf Chaos that Fromsoftware, I believe, at least has some part in it. But that is a Devolver Digital game, and it's not really a Miyazaki game. But he specifically said, while it isn't the time to discuss details, they're both Fromsoftware-esque games. We'll need a little more time, but we'll be able to tell everyone more about them once they take shape. So they're probably pretty early in development for both of these games. Deracine is just barely coming out. I'm sure they're putting the final bells and whistles on that game. But now we know, man. Now we know that this isn't the end. And one thing that's really interesting from what Miyazaki actually said himself is that they are Fromsoftware-esque games. Now, I don't really know what that means. That could mean another mech game like Armored Core, or that could mean another couple of Souls-like games. And because I like to think on the bright side, and I like to get my way, I'm gonna go ahead and assume he's saying that both of these games are gonna be Fromsoftware-esque, aka Souls-like games. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, man. A lot of people throwing different games out there. Like I said before, an Armored Core, a new Armored Core. They said they were going to do that a long time ago when they announced that they were making, this is like 2 years ago, that they were making 3 new games. Obviously, we know 2 of those are Sekiro and Deracine. And then there is still one that I believe they have never said. And if I'm remembering correctly, one of them obviously was the VR title. They said there was going to be a VR game. One of them was like a dark fantasy type of game, and then a different one was a weird type of game that they've never done before. Now, this is just from the top of my head. I can't really remember exactly those games that were mentioned 2 years ago. I remember making a video on it too. But I think at that time, these 2 unannounced titles weren't part of that. Your guess is really as good as mine on what the 2 unannounced titles could possibly be. But I'm going to lean on the bright side, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys what I think it is. At least for one of them, I think it's going to be Bloodborne 2 for the PS5. I'm going to put that out there. I honestly do think that they are going to have another Bloodborne once the PS5 comes out. I don't think, sadly, and I say sadly because it's probably not going to come out for at least another year or 2. Another Bloodborne game that is going to be, day one system seller the same way the original Bloodborne was, because that really was a game that a lot of people bought the console to play. Now, since I was pretty poor back when that came out, I wasn't one of them. And for the second title, honestly, I can't really give you guys any type of guess because I just do not know. I couldn't have guessed something like Sekiro coming out. Now, one area that we may or may not see one of these 2 unannounced titles, and I would say at this point right now, considering March 22nd is kind of close to June, when E3 actually is, I'm going to say there's about a 50% chance that we might hear something at E3. And I put it so low just because I'd imagine you may or may not have Activision telling Fromsoftware that they have to make DLCs for Sekiro. Maybe. Also, who knows how long they've been working on the games? Have they been working on these games for years? Or did they just start development within the past couple of months. Now, once you get later on in the year, you know, I'm talking late 2019, I'm talking Game Awards 2019, that's kind of where the percentage rises right up there. 80-90% in my opinion. I for sure don't think it's going to be a 2019 game. You have Sekiro coming out, like they wouldn't put out 2 games a year for sure. Hell, maybe even E3 2020. I could definitely see that as a more plausible place, because also this year, let's just speculate that it is going to be Bloodborne 2. PlayStation already said they are not going to be at E3 this year. You know, they really have nothing to show. A lot of their main games have already come out. There are still quite a few coming out in 2019. You still have The Last of Us coming out. You know, that's a giant game coming out for PlayStation. But I feel like once 2020 hits, that's when they're going to start talking about their new console. PS5, you know, it's about time. It's been close to 10 years now that we've had PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, even though obviously they just put out the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro like a year and a half ago. That's most likely when we'll start getting a little bit more news, some more rumblings of these 2 unannounced Fromsoftware titles. But I really wanted to make this video because I would love to speculate with you guys, man. I always have fun with these, talking to people in the comment section down below and seeing your guys' opinion on what possibly might these 2 unannounced games, because it could just be anything at this point, man. Fromsoftware, they made Deracine and now they're making Sekiro. Such opposite weird games that who knows, man. They might be making a Princess Fairy game as one of these 2 unannounced titles. Hell, they might be working on Fortnite too. But I thought I would let you guys actually know the news in case you don't have Twitter or you're not looking up Fromsoftware literally every single hour of every single day like I do, so I can make a video on it. And let me know what you guys think, man. Holy shit, like, I'm so happy about this news, because for somebody who makes videos on Fromsoftware games and like Souls-like games and Dark Souls 3 can't hold me forever, right? It's still the most popular game on my channel. I have fun with it, you know, we'll say 60% of the time. And Sekiro is a single player only game, and I feel like the biggest attraction to my channel is PvP. But even if these 2 unannounced titles don't have any type of PvP, just more Fromsoftware that is a fun single player game like we're probably going to get with Sekiro, I'm okay with that. Having more Fromsoftware in our lives is always nice for the heart, and I'm sure you guys would agree. But that is going to be it for this pretty short video, probably. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, maybe drop a like. Helps out the channel, helps out the video, and I hope you guys have a good day or night. Peace, everybody!